starting the YouTube link. Starting the YouTube link. हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। अभ्रमं भङ्गरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं भजेतापत्रयापहं नित्यासिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्त विध्वंसनशिक्षणः जयतीत्यागतनिर्भासतां नो हृदम्बरे अट्टिकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्यत्यकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुभूयात् अस्मदिष्टात् सिद्धेः तपोविद्याविरक्त्यादि सद्गुणोगाकराणं वादिराजगुरुन्देः कृपदाश्रयान् पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय सिद्धन्मठताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वायुध्वान्तरवे वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमोऽत्यन्ते आळवे आपादमूलपर्यन्तं गुरूणामात्मन् स्मरेत्यन विघ्नाः प्रश्यन्ति सिद्धिं मनोरथाः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. Hope you had a wonderful Sri Ramanavami. Yesterday was the Sri Ramanavami that we celebrated here in. So, today we'll continue our Gita study. We were talking about in the third adhyaya, very important concept about guna karma. Because normally gunas means we think about only sattva rajas tamo gunas, but in these two verses, तत्त्ववित् महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृष्णविदो मन्दान् कृष्णविन्न विचालयेत्. So here, guna, if we take only sattva-rajastama gunas, there will be a big, difficult to take it. So multiple ways of, we went through that, multiple approaches. And one of the main things is the gunas, which are the indriyas, they act upon the gunas, which are the vishayas, the matters for the indriyas. Like indriyas, the matter for the indriyas means shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, rasa, gandha. So these are the vishayas for the indriyas. The indriyas will act on these vishayas. The vishayas are not under our control. The indriyas are the sense organs and the body. We did not give it to ourselves. Whether we want it to be perfect or not perfect, whatever they are, their level is there as determined by our karma, swabhava, and all that. So our helplessness is obvious. It does not mean just because we are helpless doesn't mean we don't function. We do function, but we realize that some controlling force is behind us. That realization makes us perform our duties even more efficiently because we are now kind of detached with the anxiety about the fruits. We are not anxious about, so of course, the fruits of the actions. We see that in the world, real world, depending upon our action, the results come. We see that, but we should not be under the impression that we are the controllers of that. And one advice that is given here is very important advice is Tan akusna vidaha mandan krusnavit navichalayet. So those who know it in a proper way should not try to change the minds of those who do not have the proper kutsna means completely in a proper way, good understanding. Basically completely means nobody has the full knowledge. Full knowledge means full according to the person's capacity. Full. So whoever has a reasonably good understanding should not be engaged in the effort to change the minds of those who do not have a good understanding. This kind of creates another confusion. Oh, that means a person who knows well should not teach the one who doesn't know well. That's not what it means. What it means is, if the person, whoever is not in a receptive mood, but who just wants to even confuse the knower also, somebody who knows it properly If that person um, tries to change someone who doesn't know properly, it is possible that if the person who doesn't know is not in a receptive mode but want to override the minds of the knower, then the person who knows and tries to change the minds of the person may himself get confused, because the confusion can be created. One thing. So that is the one reason. The main reason is it's of no use if the person who is asking the doubts or who is receiving mode is not exactly in the receiving mode, he is not in the receptive mode, then what will happen is we are wasting our time. So do not waste your time if you know fully well that the other person, the opposite person, is not in the receptive mode. He should be in a receptive mood and receptive mode. Both, the mood and the mode, both should be there. Otherwise, our efforts are futile. That is what it's telling. So that's very important. And that's why prakrutehe gunasammudaha sajjante gunakarmasu. So people, mm, whether they have a correct understanding or not correct understanding, incorrect understanding, all of them engage in actions. Because the whole world is running. Whether a person knows properly or doesn't know properly, all the people are doing actions. There's no difference as far as that is concerned. Everybody will do whatever they can. That's always the case. But the knower who has a clear understanding, while doing the action, his mental disposition is in such a way that he knows behind every action of mine there is another controlling force. This awareness is there for a person who knows. For the person who does not know, this awareness is not there. That's why prakritehe guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu. So even people who do not have the good understanding, even those people will, show the asakti. Sajjante means samyak kurvanti. So that's what they get engaged in the action. So they have that asakti or desire to do the action irrespective of they have a good understanding on. Everybody wants to do something. Everybody will do something. They want to do something, they will do. So jnana ichha kriya is the swabhava of the jiva. But our jnana ichha kriya is not under our own control. We went through what this jnana ichha kriya quite a few times, so I'm not repeating that. But you know what is jnana, what is ichha, what is kriya. Some basic understanding here. But at any time, if you want more clarity, we can talk about it. But with the whatever information has been given according to that, this jnana ichha kriya are the inherent characteristics of jiva and paramatma. But paramatma's jnana ichha kriya is swatantra, jiva's jnana ichha kriya are aswatantra. This is the difference. And with that awareness, the person should not try to change someone else who is not willing to receive it. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. And then all this, after this, hey, why is Krishna in the battlefield? Arjuna is asking for instruction that he says he doesn't want to fight. Why is Krishna giving this big lecture about all this? Why? How is it relevant for Arjuna and how is it relevant for us? Our day to day life? Is this an idle philosophy? Is this a completely theoretical philosophy which is of no use to us? Is it a completely theoretical which is of no use to Arjuna? Is that the case? Means no. This is very practical. Why? Means, okay, with this background, what is the instruction that follows this background? What is the corollary? What's the consequent process from this? So this is the question, and the next sloka answers that. 30th sloka in the third adhyaya is what we are entering, that tells why we went through last, a few classes. We went through all this guna karma bhaga, all this. How is that relevant for Arjuna and for us? That is answered in 30th sloka. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jwaraha. Arjuna had this jwara means was like a fever. It's like a fever means it can be a mental fever. It's not really a physical. Arjuna didn't have any physical fever. He had this mental confusion. That's like a jwara. That's like a fit of mood that has grabbed Arjuna. So he has to come out of it. So that's why saying Krishna is telling Arjuna, by becoming a Vigata Jwara, that means that Jwara that you had is nothing but Bandhu Shoka. Oh, my people, they are going to die. And in that, you are forgetting the good of the society, the responsibilities, all this you are forgetting. So that's why he says, My, Paramatma is my means in me, Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Dedicate all your actions that you are doing to me. What does it mean dedicating all the actions to Paramatma? How do you can give a fruit to Paramatma. You can give, do Naivedya of something. You can give something to, of course, everything belongs to Paramatma, but we can at least offer something that's physical. But karma is not a physical object. How do we offer our action or karma to Paramatma? What is the process of offering? Means basically, when we do the karmas, we have four main thoughts behind that action. That's the way of offering action. Any action that we do, the way to offer that action to Paramatma is first thing, have the realization that you are not swatantra, you are aswatantra. That realization, you have it. That's the first thing. So, and the consequent, the second thought that comes right behind it is, I am not Swatantra means then what is happening? Paramatma is making me do it. Why is he making it? No, he doesn't have anything to gain. Why is he making me do it? Means because as per our swabhava and karma, he is making us do it. For him, there's no benefit. He has nothing to gain. But we have everything to gain because unless we perform the actions in that way, we will not progress towards the moksha liberation. So our journey of life is nothing but going either closer to Paramatma or away from Paramatma. So we want to go closer to Paramatma. That is the moksha sadhana for us. So that is the reason why Paramatma is making us do it. Okay, then what is my role on that? Means uh, have the temperament or thought. The third step is this is his worship. We tell the sloka prata prabhuti sayantam sayadi prataram tatha yat karomi jagannatha tadastu tava pujanam. So every karma that I do, it has to be your puja. See, this thought, when we have this thought, naturally we engage in good action. Even bad action that we do is maybe in kind of involuntary bad, something that we do without knowing. Oh, I did made a mistake. I didn't realize it. So you have paschatapa if you really do it something wrong. So our goal is whatever is the right thing that I have to do. It is irrelevant. I am a swatantra or aswatantra is a different story. That's why the swatantra and kartrutva are two separate. Normally, people get confused between the two. They think the kartrutva, the doership. Kartrutva means doership. Doership is when if I am a doer means I am a swatantra. I am independent, so I am doing it. That's the concept people normally have. But go deeper. There are two different aspects. I am doer all right. I am doing all right, but I am doing as a dependent. I am dependent on many things, dependent on this world, dependent on the available things to me, dependent on my life. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose the circumstances around us. It appears, okay, whichever country I want to go, I go to that country, I do that. But that facilitation can happen only if God wills it. There is a force behind it that is making things happen. So it looks as if so many things are under our control, but you go a little deeper, you realize that those things are not under our control. They happened all right because the upper force, the independent force also wanted. Of course, we wanted to certain things to happen. They happen. When they happen, the reason behind it is Paramatma, or the independent Swatantra Shakti also wants whatever we are thinking and whatever that independent force is thinking. When they join, it happens. When they don't join, it doesn't happen. That's just things that some of the things that we think of doing, they become successful. Some of the things do not become successful. So whatever becomes successful or does not become successful is completely dependent upon our will coinciding with the will of the invisible independent force. Of course, we got Paramatma, God, whatever name we may call, the names may be whatever we call, but that independent Swatantra Shakti is doing it. So let this be his worship, his aradhana. When we think like that, naturally our type of actions, process of our actions, our kind of actions that we do, they naturally turn out to be good action, because we want this to be worship of Paramatma means we tend to make it a good action. Then we'll be more comfortable in offering that as a worship of Paramatma. That is the third step. And the fourth step, we say, don't have the desire for, nishkama karma, What is this nishkama karma? No desire. Hey, I do something, I should have desire. What do you mean by no desire? Means, okay, you have the desire as grace of Paramatma, as the ultimate desire. When the grace of Paramatma is there, all the other consequent fruits automatically happen. Whatever, you do something, you work, go to a job, the salary comes. It's naturally the result is there. But the salary, nice salary comes because the Paramatma is acting through the minds of the employer. He's acting through our minds. He is making things happen. He is through in the process. He is as an indweller of everybody's mind. Everything is under his control. So the other results that happen, consequently, whether it may be salary or it may be padarthas that we want, things that we want, no matter what it is, all of that will automatically become a consequential thing if God's grace is present. So God's grace is very, very important. So let that be my sole goal. Let God be pleased with that. Then other things will follow automatically. They are consequential things. But God's grace, that should be my goal. So this is what is offering the karma. So offering the karma consists of all these four steps. Mainly, you may think of more or less, but these four are the main steps. This is the way we offer our karma action to Paramatma. So that's what Krishna is telling in 30th sloka, that Nishkama karma is a good concept of it is given here in this sloka. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya, by giving it, dedicating it to me. How? Adhyatma chetasa. What is Adhyatma chetasa? Atmanam mam adhikrutya yat chetaha tat adhyatma. The chetas is that mind. Our mind, here, Atma is Paramatma. So, Atmanam Paramatmanam, mam, Krishna is my, adhikrutya, that means have me as the basis, have me as the ultimate goal. Adhi, placing there, placement. What? Placement in Paramatma. Placing our mind in Paramatma. That is Adhyatma Chetas. So, keeping our minds on Paramatma is Adhyatma Chetas, Lakshana. So, with that temperament, with that mentality, you become a Nirashi. Asha is desire. Don't be over anxious about what will happen, how will the result be. So, this desire should not be there. You should become a Nirashi, Asha Rahita, desireless. Desireless means, hey, you are desiring for the grace of Paramatma. That's a desiring. So you are saying desireless, then you say desire for grace of Paramatma. When we say desireless, it means anything other than the grace of Paramatma. So not desiring for the grace of the Paramatma doesn't, because he is the ultimate goal. So Nishkama means kama other than Paramatma only. That should not be there. But grace of Paramatma, even if you desire for it, It is like a nishkama only. It is like nirasha. That means asha and other things should not be there. Kama for other things should not be there. Asha or kama for Paramatma or Paramatma's santosha, Paramatma's anugraha. That is considered as if you don't have the desire. Because if you do not even desire for the grace of the Paramatma, it becomes blank, empty. That's not what the Shastra is saying. Whenever you talk about Nishkama Karma or Nirasha, or give up, give up, give up, give up everything other than Paramatma. Desiring for moksha, desiring for Paramatma, desiring for His grace, all these synonymous things are all considered. Even if you desire, it is as good as a desireless. It is equivalent of desireless. So nishkama is the correct meaning. That means kama for other things should not be there. But kama for Paramatma is acceptable. Not only acceptable, it's a must. So that is also considered as niskama only. That's important. And in this context, actually, it's normally we are not going to Bhashya Tatparya everywhere, but something that you may have heard a lot of times, that thing is given as a Tatparya. So here, that particular segment which Acharya quotes from Brahmatarka is a very wonderful piece of advice and something that we should think of it in our background, in our mental background all the time. And you may have heard from many people. So that segment, I'll just read it out. I won't go word by word meaning on that, but just give a gist of it. But that's so beautiful. So I'll just read that out. And you might have heard about this a lot of times. That's why I'm reading this. नाहं कर्ता हरिकर्ता तत्पूजा कर्म चाखिलं तथापि मत्कृता पूजा तत्प्रसादेन नान्यथा तद्भक्ति तत्फलं मह्यं तत्प्रसादः पुनः पुनः कर्मन्यासो हरावेवं विष्णोः तृप्तिकरः सदा यस्मात् स्वतन्त्रकर्तृत्वं विष्णोः एव न चान्यगं तदधीनं स्वतन्त्रत्वं स्व अवर अपेक्षया एव तु जीवस्य विकृतिर्नाम कर्तृत्वं जडसंशयं पुमान् दोग्धा च गौः दोग्ध्री स्तनो दोग्धा इतिवत् क्रमात् इति ब्रह्मतर्कवचनात्. This is Acharya quotes from Brahmatarka. And uh, Brahmatarka is not available anywhere. So people will think, oh, this is some spurious source and all that. Even if it's not available, you can see how beautiful this thought is. No, Acharya did not want to give this and say, oh, these are my own words. He told, frankly, this is Brahmatarka. And otherwise, if Acharya doesn't say, then it is like stealing something else, somebody else's thing. So it's almost equivalent of plagiarism. So Acharya doesn't plagiarize. Acharya just tells what is what. So here, in this particular segment, the essence is this. And whenever we do the action, we have to have this mental, this feeling behind every action. I am not the doer. Hari is the doer. Every karma is in the form of worship to him. And also, in that way, even though I am not an independent doer, tathapi, even so, even I am not an independent doer, matkruta puja, whatever I am doing as a dependent doer, that is in the form of worship. It is because of his grace only I am able to do. Because if, in all practical things, for all practical purposes, I could have been immobilized. I am able to use my strength. I am able to stand. I am able to walk. I am able to do things with my hands, legs, everything are functioning. That is His grace. So Tat Prasad, because of His grace, everything is happening. And if His grace is not there, nothing will work. Actually, I think the time is running up. So I'll stop it here and continue this thought in the next class so that there can be a lot of questions on this also. I'll continue in the next class. Hare Srinivasa. Any questions are there? No, 3, 4 minutes we can do that. Then Vishnu Sahasranama is there. So Hare Srinivasa.
Namaskar, Gurugala.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Now, one fundamental question, just
Yeah,
continuing our the last
yeah,
call from Wednesday.
sure.
So, by the Srimadacharya's tenets, I think the very first one is like Hari Parataraha. Right?
Mm,
So I mean, like I tried to understand more details about it, and what I gathered is
mm,
he is different from his own creation. He's independent from his own creation.
mhm.
So when he can very joyfully, willfully be independent by himself,
Mhm.
why does he see like creation even being required? I mean, why do you think that he has even created this entire thing when he can independently by himself exist without anything?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so yeah, basically your question is like we call about efficient cost and material cost. So why does he need like a material cost? Dependent upon the Mula Prakriti or primordial matter. He himself can, without using Mula Prakriti or primordial matter, he himself can transform himself, make himself everything. So without using even primordial matter. Is that your question?
Yes, yeah. I mean, why should even anything, even like
Why should
creation,
even do the
sustain?
creation and everything?
Yeah, creation, sustenance, destruction. Why should even that happen?
Yeah.
When by himself he can exist and be blissful, why does
Mhm.
he choose to do this?
Yeah. So the reason is this. See, as we saw, no, yeah, for him it's of no use. So he can just exist himself, not do anything, because all this doesn't give him any joy. Why should he even all do all this? Why even do anything? Because he can just be peaceful for him exist without doing any creation. It doesn't benefit him. So why even bother about all this? The reason is this. The reason is uh, yes, there's nothing for him to gain, no benefit for him, so he can just exist himself without doing anything. But we need it because unless we progress, like we are in what we call uncreated state, without doing anything, and we come into the creation, we make our souls progress and mature and eventually be detached to even the linga sharira and everything. Unless we achieve that, we cannot have that eternal bliss for us. So it is to help all the jivas to have that joy, the eternal bliss. That is the reason we engage in. So for the sake of benefiting others, not for his. That's why in Bhagavad also that sloka that comes in Janmadya Chetanvaya, there it says actually three kinds of sloka. Tisargo mrusha. There tejo vari mrudam yatha vinimayo etra tisargo mrusha. Mrusha means of no benefit. Yes, it is of no benefit for him, but nobody does any action without any benefit. But though no benefit for him, there is a benefit for others. So swaprayojana is not there, but paraprayojana is there. So that is what is Hari Paratarha means. He is all supreme. He doesn't need anything. No, no, he doesn't have to do anything. But it's we who need it. So for the sake of helping us means all the jivas. He has, you know, he proceeded, did all this creation to make the jivas progress and reach their ultimate goal of eternal bliss. Unless this creation happens, no jiva will progress, no jiva will have eternal bliss. They'll be in a what you call ignorant, emotionless state, what you call a non-created state, a srujya, that is uncreated state. Something all in a like a dormant, dormancy we call it a dormancy. They're all dormant without anything, no bliss, no happiness, like kind of a almost equivalent of not exactly jada, the feelings will be there, but still effectively as good as the lifeless jada objects. So the chetanatva, the in us, the sentience in us, it has to arouse. Wake up means the creation has to be there. That is why to help the jivas, He is doing this creation. The purpose of the creation is to help all the living beings to progress from an uncreated state to eternally blissful state. The journey can happen only in the creation. If there's no creation, there's no playground. So if suppose somebody wants to play soccer or any particular game, if there's no ground at all, they cannot go and play. They need a ground to play any game. Of course, the crude example. So for the jivas to do the sadhana, they need this entire universe. If there's no universe, there's no sadhana, there's no progress, there's no eternal bliss, there's no moksha. So the moksha sthiti can happen only when jivas progress through the creation. So to enable that journey, to enable that progression, Paramatma creates this universe. So there's no benefit for him, all right, but there's a benefit for all of us. He is so compassionate that he sees, okay, it's of no use for me, but it's of so much use for others. That's why he does the creation, just for the sake of all the jivas.
Dhanyawada Guru. Profusely thankful. Beautifully explained. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Namaskara, Gurugala.
Yeah.
Shrikar had one question.
Yeah.
Namaskara. Yeah,
Namaskar.
I think you already explained it, but I was still kind of curious. So, you talked about how we should have the kama for Devru and we should have the desire to understand and we should have more bhakti. But
Yeah.
let's say like if I do any karma or bhakti with the intent of gaining moksha,
Mhm.
then that would be nishkama or sakama? And so if so, what like intent should we pray to Devaru? Like in our everyday lives when we go to the temple, we usually just ask for, oh, I want good grades, and that becomes sakama. But how can we kind of guide that into nishkama bhakti or
Yeah.
nishkama karma?
Yeah, it is also Nishkam only, as I said, yes, you ask for desire for the moksha. You
Yeah.
desire for the moksha is nothing but the being with Paramatma. So we are always with Paramatma. That realization, the supreme bliss will happen with moksha. So that is considered as Nishkama only. When we desire for Paramatma, it is Nishkama only. Nishkama karma means it does not mean absolutely no kama. It means no kama for anything other than moksha, other than Paramatma. Moksha is also like same as wishing for Paramatma. So desiring for moksha or desiring Paramatma is also called Nishkama only. So Nishkama doesn't mean, oh, we desire for moksha, so it is a sakama. No. Even if you desire for moksha, that is same as Nishkama. Nishkama means anything other than moksha, other than Paramatma. That only is sakama.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
had one question, Gurugale, but you can take it in next class.
Yeah.
So my question was like, if we are focusing on one task, then we cannot put the mind in Bhagavanta's idu. But if we are into Devardo or if we are doing something related to Parana and all, we cannot focus on doing like shouldn't be multitasking kind of thing ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Like we have to be focusing on our work. So how
See,
can we put
yeah.
like how can we remember Bhagavanta while doing that karma?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and I'll definitely address it in the next class
Okay.
because the Vishnu Nama story. Yeah, we'll address that while doing other karmas which are not at all related to God. How to think of God?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll address
Thank you.
that in the next class. Sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hare, yeah. Hare Srinivasa. Yeah.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಗಳು. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Namaskar.
हरे श्रीनिवास नमस्कार.
Yeah. Prata Prabhuti Sayantam Sayadi Prataram Tatha Yat Krom Jagannatha Tadastu Bhojanam Hare Srinivasa.
हरे श्रीनिवास धन्यवाद.
हरे श्रीनिवास नमस्कार हरि.
Namaskar.
Do we continue on the same link, Acharya, or do we
Yeah,
leave?
same link, always the same link. It's the same link all the time.
Yeah, for Vishnu Sahasranama?
Oh, no, Vishnu Sahasranama also same link. I'll just come out and come back here. It's the same link for Vishnu Sahasranama.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Namaskar. Dhanyawad.
Namaskara.
Namaskar.